Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. What can I say about this one? I do want to give a quick rundown of some of the details about the game that I've seen and just give my opinions on it. So, first thing I noticed was the art style. The art style is very cartoony. If you watch the interview that Canadian guy A had with the game's, I think, art director, or no, it might have been the game's like director in general, like its lead like design director or something like that. Anyway, he says that they were pulling off more of a Looney Tunes vibe. And that's pretty cool. I really like that. But I will say I have kind of grown attached to the Insane trilogy and the art style that brings. I'm not completely madly in love with the art design, but once I play it, it'll probably grow on me. I'll probably end up really enjoying it. I mean, it does look really fun. And speaking of fun, gameplay looks phenomenal. They're adding so much into it. It's not just running, spinning, sliding, jumping, and belly flopping, or whatever that's called. It's not just all of that anymore. Now they're adding new masks with new powers, which is really, really dope. I do think, they do run the risk of making these feel less fun and more gimmicky. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. They don't seem very gimmicky from the little bits of gameplay that we've got so far. They actually seem like they exist to really make you use your noggin a little bit, right? Because it does look like this game is going to be making you think on your feet a lot more than the previous three. That's great. I actually really like that. It makes it feel more intense. But on the level of intensity, they also said that they were going to add a retro mode and a modern mode, which is basically the modern mode is you have infinite lives, and whenever you die, you start back at the checkpoint, right? And then the retro mode, you have limited lives. I mean, you get 100 Wampa Fruit, and you get an extra life, and that's that. I mean, and then once you run out of lives, you'll get game over. You'll have to start the level back over, which, to me, I like that style of gameplay. However, they are incentivizing you. Is that the right word? Well, anyway, you have the incentive to play the modern version, because the modern version, if you go through it without dying a certain number of times, right, you have like a max death limit. And if you don't go over that max death limit, you get a gem. I really like the idea that you have this modern take on it, and they reward you for playing that, I mean, it might not be much of a reward. Who knows? Maybe the gems are just like the gems in the previous three. They're very optional. They don't offer a whole lot. They're just there if you want to be a completionist. But I like the idea overall. I like it as a whole. And who knows? They said that if you collect Wampa Fruit, and something that I noticed in the gameplay too is that whenever you break a box, you don't have to go back and collect the Wampa Fruit for that broken box. Whenever you break a box, you automatically get the Wampa Fruit. It's attracted to you as soon as you break that box, which is, that's pretty neat. That makes it to where you don't have to go back and grab them after you've hit the box. That was something that was slightly annoying in the Insane trilogy. That was something that I was hoping they would do away with, and they've improved on it, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. It looks really great. So, they say at the end, you get a reward for collecting all the Wampa Fruit in the level, which means you can't spin the Wampa Fruit away like you could in the previous three. So that's really cool. I do enjoy that. And maybe there's unlockables that you get. If you get these gems, or if you get these, all the Wampa Fruit or anything, it does look like they're going to give some form of unlockables. And right now it looks like it's going to be in the lieu of character skins. I don't remember if it was a pre-order bonus. I believe it is. I believe it is a pre-order bonus where you get these like Surf's Up skins. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but basically they have advertised that you will be getting skins, alternate skins in this game. And honestly, I really hope we have like an Insane trilogy skin, because that'd be like the skin I'd rep all day. It does look good. I just prefer the Insane Trilogy a little bit more because that's what's grown on me. This art style could grow on me as well. And maybe I'll end up liking it more, the Insane Trilogy. This seems to look somewhat similar to the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which, coming from Toys for Bob, that does make sense. I can understand, they worked on Spyro, so of course this new one, the art style is going to look a little more like Spyro, a little more cartoony. And another thing I want to mention about the gameplay is the level design itself actually looks really solid. There's a lot of subtleties that I noticed during the gameplay that I want to point out here. The 3D section with the moving ice blocks, I really, really liked that. I liked that idea as a whole. But then there was also the platforms where if you stand on one platform, the other one moves up. It was like a balancing thing. So the longer you stand on it, the further down it goes, and the further up the other side goes. I really like that. Like, I know it's probably seems very minute, like a very minute detail, but it was just something that I noticed that I was like, that adds just a little more depth into the game, and it might not add a whole lot to the gameplay, but it's a little extra detail, a little extra something that gives the game life. Oh, another thing too is not only do they have the masks, right? The masks that can kind of, switch up the gameplay for you. They have one that slows down time, which, gives the game more of a puzzly vibe. They have that. They have the mask that flips gravity for you. You get to play as Cortex for one, and he's supposed to be able to make platforms, shoot his gun or shoot his like laser ray gun, whatever, and make platforms for himself. So that'll be really interesting. It'll freshen up the gameplay. Maybe they sprinkle it in throughout. Maybe they break it up a little bit in between, interchange them and whatnot, which will be, that'll be fun. That'll give the game the diversity it needs to really step onto the modern scene of games. On top of that, we don't know the most about Cortex's gameplay. We're not sure what purpose it serves at the moment. Or at least I don't know. Maybe somebody else has already figured it out. But there is the aspects of Crash and Coco's gameplay, which looks really cool. Besides the masks, you have this rope sliding, which is very reminiscent of Sly. Sly did the rope sliding, rope walking thing like long before Crash ever did, and honestly, it's about time Crash did it too. If they do it right, if they make it less gimmicky, which I so far it doesn't look like they're making anything in the game very gimmicky, but it looks fun. You can hold on to it with your hands and ride underneath the rope or the vine, or you can stand on it and ride on top of it, and obviously you switch between the two to avoid obstacles, so that adds more depth into the gameplay, which is nice. It's very welcome change. There's also the wall running. I mean, I saw Crash wall running and I was like, what is this, Black Ops 3? Like, honestly, Titanfall, this looks great. It adds another
depth to it.
And another thing too is it doesn't look like you're falling while you're wall running. So that's kind of interesting. Doesn't look like you're falling, you're just kind of running along the side of it. But maybe you do eventually. Maybe you are limited on your time, and after so much time of wall running, you'll fall, which would make sense. I kind of honestly hope that that's how they do it. But if they don't, I'm sure it'll still be really good. It still looks really interesting. Again, they are really hammering in the diverse gameplay while staying true to form to the original platforming, and they keep all of the original platforming from the first 3 games, but they're just adding on to it. And another thing too is the lore. They seem to be doing a lot of world building. It's pretty obvious from the trailers that, Cortex and Entropy and was it Uka Uka, they all got trapped in the past and they became like babies, I think, or at least Cortex and Entropy did. And then somehow they get out of that and they break like dimensional rifts on Wampa Island. And they are just adding story everywhere. They are just throwing in lore from the Crash universe that like no other game has done before it. I mean, Yeah, there's been some games that have expanded on the lore, but Crash has never ever like been hyper focused on the story. Yes, it's had a little charm to it, but the story has never been a selling point for a Crash game, and that is one of the weaker aspects of a Crash Bandicoot game. Well, it looks like they're taking that and they're just overhauling the whole like idea of what a Crash Bandicoot story could be. I gotta say, I like the idea. I'm down for it. I'm here for it. I'm ready to play it already. And speaking of playing it already, it's set to release in October, which is honestly it's a little sooner than I was thinking. I was thinking it was gonna release with the PS5 or with the new gen consoles. But they'll probably do like a port or something. I mean, they'll probably do like a, kind of like how The Last of Us did last generation, where, and they're doing it now, obviously, but where they released The Last of Us on the PS3 and then released it remastered on the PS4. And honestly, I'm down for it. Like that seems really great. Everything that has been revealed so far has been nothing but good news. Like if I had any nitpicks for it at all, it would be that some of the gameplay aspects look like they could possibly be a little gimmicky. Okay, now again, that's me playing the devil's advocate. I'm not saying that they are gimmicky. I'm saying they could be. But it does look like they are handling it right. And I mean, I'm going to end it with, mostly positive vibes. I can't wait to play this game. And the changes that Toys for Bob are making within the gameplay aspects and even like the story focused aspects, it's not even change, it's just additions. It's welcome additions to what has already been such a great established franchise. Man, I've rambled on for long enough. I mean, it's just positive vibes, man. Positive vibes. It's good to hear some good news again. I mean, with all the crap going on in the world, it's good to hear some good news. Hey, that's been my hot take on it. Nothing really scripted out, nothing major. Just me giving my personal opinions on it. I'd love to hear yours down below. Please drop a comment, and subscribe if you want to see like I'll play this game day one. Like day one, I'm there. I'm playing this game, bro. All in all, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.